Yeah.
Hi, we're the team number 1 of the group 315, and we will be present all the stage 1 of the nature of life. This is my team, so let's start.
First of all, we are going to talk about the photosynthesis. In the photosynthesis, phototrophs use the energy that is obtained from the sun and also use carbon dioxide and water to make glucose and oxygen. In photosynthesis, solar energy is transformed in the form of glucose using water and carbon dioxide, and with this process, oxygen is released. The equation for the photosynthesis is carbon dioxide and water produces glucose and oxygen.
In the Calvin cycle, ATP and NADPH are used to reduce or fix carbon dioxide to produce glucose. This carbon fixation reaction is catalyzed by an enzyme called Rubisco, a highly abundant protein in plants and possibly the most abundant protein on Earth.
Also, there are two stages for the photosynthesis. They are the light-dependent reactions and the Calvin cycle. In this comparative chart, we can see the two stages, the light-dependent reactions and the Calvin cycle. In the light-dependent reactions, it occurs in the thylakoid membrane, and what happens in this stage is that the energy is captured and it is transformed into ATP, and this process requires sunlight. And finally, we have the Calvin cycle. This process is located in the stroma, and in here the ATP is used to create sugars, and it doesn't require light. 26 to 28 ATP molecules are produced.
Now we have the next topic, cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is the process through which cells convert sugar into energy to create ATP and other forms of energy to power cellular reactions. Cells require full and electrons acceptors, which drives the chemical process of turning energy into a usable form. For molecules in living cells to break down glucose molecules, the press catabolism it is necessary, which is a type of metabolism that destroys molecules. Then we have the steps of the catabolism. The first one is stage 1, micromolecules such as starch, triglycerols, and steroid fatty acids and proteins are digested into smaller molecules. As you can see in this like draw, starch to glucose, triacerols to fatty plus glycerol, and proteins to amino acids. Then the second phase is the molecules obtained in the first stage are transformed into acetyl CoA. So as you can see, like in the draw, glucose and fatty acids are transformed to a simple compound acetyl CoA. Now we have the third phase of catabolism, stage 3, acetyl CoA energy that the curve cycle, where in addition to CO2 reducing equivalents that are used in the electron transport chain and generated um, the steps as a final product, you obtain water. So the acetyl CoA, you obtain like carbon dioxide plus water. So this is the process of catabolism.
Next, we have glucose as a feeder. So the glucose has to pass through a pathway of catabolism to perform the glycolysis to have pyruvate as a result. So the pyruvate we have as the result, we can convert it to acetyl. So A. In this way, we have the acetyl CoA to convert it to be used to the transport electron chain. As we can see, the formula to acetyl-CoA is converted to be used in the electron transport chain. And the step 3 is we feed the electron chains. We can have as a result water or H2O Here is the formula. C6H12O6. In the result, we have 6H2O. This means that the glucose and the oxygen are turned into the carbon dioxide, water, and the energy is released. So the amount of as glucose as a feeder is 24 ATP. Here is an example, more easy to comprehend. We have glucose that transfer to pyruvic acid to perform glycolysis. To the pyruvic acids with the Krebs cycle, we have ATP.
Okay, so now we have fermentation. Fermentation is the chemical breakdown of a substance by bacteria, yeast, or other microorganisms, especially involving effervescence and the giving of heat. We can see this process of fermentation in the making of beer, wine, and liquor, in which sugars are converted into ethyl alcohol. Also, when we make bread, fermentation occurs. Here we can see two formulas in which a glycolysis process of fermentation is happening. The first one is for aerobic fermentation, and we can see that we have glucose plus 2 ATP plus 2 NAD plus 2 ADP and plus 2 PI to produce 2 pyruvate and 2 NADH plus 4 ATP molecules. The second formula is for an aerobic process, and we have 2 pyruvate plus 2 NADH to produce 2 lactate and 2 NADH molecules. So here the final outcome for the glycolysis will be lactate since there is no oxygen. Now we have the lactic fermentation. So as we saw, fermentation is a metabolic process that produces chemical changes in organic substances through the action of enzymes. And here an example for anaerobic glycolysis is when we exercise. The energy demand by the muscle is very high, so it starts to generate lactate in order to obtain more ATP from glycolysis. The lactate leaves the muscle and it returns to the liver, where it's again transformed into glucose. This process is called lactic fermentation since lactate is produced. And also we can see this process when yogurt and various products are produced.
And we have ethanol production. A yeast causes an almost exclusively anaerobic metabolism. It forces the microorganism to produce ethanol, a light alcohol, as its main product. Ethanol is mainly used for the production of wine, as we can see in the photo, and other fermented drinks. Here in Mexico, we have like the tepache and all the tejuino. So this is the things ethanol is used for.
Well, here are the references. With this, we have now the end of our presentation. We expect you enjoy. Thank you very much.